Holmes, will you stop that? You are utterly mad. Stop, Holmes!
Is that you, Watson?
Yes, of course it is. And you almost killed me.
Nonsense. I was aiming for the vases.
Blindfolded?
Watson, quiet, please. I'm trying to concentrate. Ah, Lestrade. What is it this time?
He can see me.
Yes,
Oh, Mr. Holmes, how could you?
it's the...
You go along to Peter Carer's house. Mrs. Hudson and I will take care of...
Mr. Holmes, I'm over here. Come on. Mr. Holmes?
Inspector Lestrade, when will you remove my husband?
I'll wait for you in front of the cabin, Mr. Holmes.
My condolences, Miss...
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Madam, can you tell me if you saw or heard anything unusual?
At 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard a terrible scream. But I thought nothing of it then. He would scream all the time when he was drunk.
Do you remember
At around 10 o'clock, I dared to glance in through the door and... oh dear.
Was your husband accustomed?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really have many friends. He lived quite an isolated life here, after his retirement.
Can you please tell me what occurred?
Well, Peter got drunk in the evening. He was in such a terrible temper. Usually, whenever that happened, he'd stay all night drinking in his cabin before passing out.
Thank you, madam. It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Peter Carey's body is inside the cabin. We took care not to touch anything.
The door is locked.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Holmes, and I'll open it. I locked it yesterday to ensure that no one should enter the cabin and...
Ah,
Hello.
what is it, Lestrade?
It seems to me that someone has tried to force it, Mr. Holmes.
Let me see. These scratches are fresh. You're right. Someone tried to force open the door.
I swear these scratches were not here yesterday.
Now, a mysterious visitor came here last night.
Well, he's not the man for the job. This lock is not a difficult one.
What a terrible way to die. The tooth of a sperm whale, probably from one of Peter Carey's catches. The tooth. Peter Carey's boots. They look to be a size 8. Old navigation instruments, nothing interesting. Harpoons for hunt. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded. Someone drank from this glass recently. Rum, a sailor's drink. It seems that Captain Carey was enjoying a drink before he met his death. The weapon fully penetrated the body. The force of the blow was immense. This man is in his 50s, yet he still looks quite strong. Peter Carey was impaled to the wall by a whaling harpoon. This wooden handle is plain and solid. This blood is from the pool underneath the dead body. Peter Carey tried to defend himself with this knife, but he did not succeed. Peter Carey was fully dressed. He was not caught by surprise. It is possible that he knew his murderer. The pattern of the blood stain indicates that the notebook was not lying on the floor prior to the crime, but it was dropped into the pool of blood after the death of Peter Carey. JHN are probably the initials of the owner of this notebook. These abbreviations mean something, but what?
Have you finished inspecting the crime scene? Have you finished inspecting the crime scene?
Mr. Holmes?
Someone was here yesterday. They attempted to force the door to gain entry.
Well, Mr. Holmes, what do you think?
I think that we are lucky.
And why is that?
Because of last night's attempted break-in.
Oh, you've lost me.
It is very probable that whoever came here hoped to find the door open. They tried to force it with a knife blade, but they failed. What will they do? Why, return tonight, when they will be better prepared.
Aha! So what do you propose?
We shall remain on the outside, near the window, where we stand the best chance of catching sight of our visitor. Well, gentlemen, ready your pistols. We have a long night ahead of us.
We need to find a good place for an ambush. Perhaps behind Carey's cabin, near the window.
The garden is very large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
You have indeed suffered a great loss, Mrs. Carey. Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for you soon.
Yes, life with Peter was never easy, but he was still my husband.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from Plymouth?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh, my goodness, but how do you know about that?
Never mind. Thank you, madam. It seems that the garden was well maintained. I cannot leave yet. I am not finished here.
We need to find a good place for an ambush. Perhaps behind Carey's cabin, near the window.
Mr. Holmes?
This looks like the perfect hiding place.
Did you hear that? There's someone there. I'm gonna collar him.
I'll be right behind you.
Police! Hold it right there. Mr. Holmes, come and see... All right, my fine fellow. Who are you and what are you doing here?
You're detectives, I suppose. You imagine that I'm connected with the death of Captain Carey. I assure you I'm innocent.
Innocent? Then what are you doing in his cabin?
Shall I tell you? You came to retrieve what you had lost after killing Peter Carey, but we were here, waiting for you.
What is your name?
John Hopley Nelligan, but I didn't...
Do you deny that you came here yesterday?
No, but yes, it's just that I couldn't...
I'm tired of this. Off we go to the yard. Tomorrow, I'll see that you're...
What? But you can't! I'm not... It's a terrible mistake!
Enough.
But...
In light of...
You are welcome, Inspector. Locked.
Mr. Holmes?
Good morning, Mr. Holmes. Can I help you?
Good morning, Constable. I would like to speak to the fellow who was arrested at Woodman's Lee last night.
Ah, the young man. He's waiting in the interrogation room.
Thank you.
Mr. Holmes?
Does this notebook belong to you?
Yes. But where did you find it? I did not know... I thought I'd lost it at the hotel.
What do these abbreviations mean?
Oh, no. I beg you, I can't. If I told you, it would only make things worse.
But I will find out. The sea knife was found...
I don't know.
Well, I will see you soon, young man.
Please, let me go.
I need to stage a reconstruction. I am sure that Watson would be happy to oblige.